Welcome, fellow Catholic grievers. And this episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about not being able to sleep. So, welcome back, everybody. Or if you're new, welcome for the first time. And I hope that you'll like or subscribe because that just helps share this podcast with others. And today I want to talk about when you can't sleep. So, I'm not talking about like when we do all the things, right? Like, I'm talking about when we can't sleep because our mind keeps going because of the grief or the struggle that we are running through in our mind, or sometimes we just wake up. So, for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to assume that if you can't sleep, you've tried all the tricks. You've tried the darkening curtains that keep the light out. You've tried drinking maybe chamomile tea or lavender tea before bed, that you've cut off caffeine before a certain hour, that you try putting your screens away right before bedtime, right? So you can not I don't know if it's called the blue light, something about that. Or also putting your phone in a different room so it doesn't light up, or upside down even so you don't get all of the flashes from notifications during the night, that even though if your eyes are closed, like you still can see. So I'm talking about when we are struggling and we've done all those things, okay? If you haven't done all those things, I recommend starting there, of course. But I was coaching somebody the other day who's just like, no, like all of a sudden I just can't sleep. And it wasn't even really about grief. It was just in general. She's just like, I can't sleep and it's affecting my life. I am exhausted. She wanted to be with her grandkids during the day. Like she is a very active person. And so she's like, it's really messing with me. And if I do lay down, then I don't have that time with my grandkids. And if I don't lay down, like I'm so exhausted that I just kind of zone out and I'm not really present with them anyway. And so we started kind of breaking it down. And she was waking up in the middle of the night, just it seemed randomly. And so the first thing that I want to note is sometimes this happens like with a change of seasons or in relation to your grief. For me, it always happens around the time of my mom dying, my dad dying. It just our body holds on to memories. And so we store this in our body, and without even recognizing it, that can be what's happening. And so if you're like, oh yeah, like it's about a month out from the anniversary of my sister's death, like that can be part of why you're not sleeping. So just to recognize that almost makes it feel like, oh, like I have an answer. It's not necessarily the answer I want because I'm still waking up, but it makes sense and it can provide some relief, like nothing's wrong. And so we kind of talked through that, and she didn't really have anything that seemed to trigger why all of a sudden she wasn't sleeping. Another thing that can be is sometimes our age, right? Like if especially if you're a woman, if you're going through menopause, or even perimenopause, like there's times when like you don't sleep as well. So those things can be happening. The other thing that she was going through, or as we were talking about this, was that she felt like this was a problem. When we think that, right, like, well, this shouldn't be happening, that means we're not accepting the reality of this is happening. And when this is happening, we sit there and think like, oh, this happened again. This shouldn't be happening. Now I'm gonna like the whole next day is gonna be blown, right? Like we add all these additional thoughts that can keep us stuck. Instead of just saying, okay, I'm awake and surrendering that to the Lord, right? Surrendering that and be like, okay, God, like I'm awake. Why are you calling me to be awake right now? Sometimes I have found like I'm being called to pray for somebody. The other day I woke up and I just felt dread. I felt anxious. I felt like something was looming, like something bad. And I don't know why. That was about a week ago now, and I don't know if that was just again a trial that God allowed me to go through. I don't know what I was dreaming about, if there was something that set that off. But I woke up and said, okay, like And it took me a bit of time, right? Like I was just like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? Like my husband and I had a little getaway plan. So I'm like, maybe we should go on the trip. Like, oh my gosh, what if something happens with the kids, right? Like I started going into all these what ifs that we went on the trip, nothing happened, but my mind just instantly started spiraling. And so once I recognized that, I was like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, we're thinking of all these scenarios that probably aren't true. They're probably not going to happen. And even if they do happen, like, what am I going to do about it by worrying about it? So I recognized that. And then I started to pray. I'm like, maybe I need to pray for somebody. I felt a nudge. My cousin's husband has been doing security for the fireworks tents overnight. And she asked for prayers because she's like, I don't know, like sometimes, people are just crazy. And I wanted to be safe. She's due with a baby very shortly. And like, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pray for him. I prayed my rosary and it helped me soothe me and I went back to sleep. Sometimes I'll pray the whole rosary and I'll still be wide awake. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But when I was praying for him, I was like, maybe this is why God wanted me awake. Maybe I am supposed to pray right now. And even if it's not for my cousin's husband, like I'm just like I always give it to Mary too and just be like, Mary, whoever I need to pray for right now, like take these prayers to them, and especially for the intentions of so and so. And so we can do that, right? The other thing is sometimes we just can't fall back asleep. And so in those moments, I like to have some go-to things. And I think I've talked about this before on the podcast. I like to have some go-to things. And I'm like, okay, maybe I just want to get a little bit of work done, now. I'll read a book. And I'll do this until I feel tired. And then when I feel tired, I make sure that I go and lay back down. Sometimes it's only for a half hour because then I have to be up. But I really try not to just power through then the rest of the day. And and I try not to tell myself, well, you're only going to get a half hour sleep. What's the point? The point is I'm tired and a half hour nap right now is really what I need. And so recognizing little things that you can do. Again, maybe it is having a little bit of tea, reading your Bible, praying your rosary. Some people like to journal. Again, I like to read. Sometimes I'll get up and I'll work on things for my business. Sometimes like I get some really good ideas at night. But the switch is that I don't feel like anything's gone wrong. I don't feel like this shouldn't be happening. I'm like, maybe God has gifted me this time because I have really been struggling with getting everything done in a day. And so looking at it as a gift instead of something that shouldn't be happening, because it is happening, right? And the more we can accept the reality, the more we can just sink into that peace feeling. Be like, okay. And again, with the peace, the surrender. Okay, Lord, I don't know why you woke me up, but what would you like me to do during this time? And lots of times I'll kind of feel like what I should be doing. Again, like the other night, I was like, I think I need to pray for my cousin's husband. Like, I don't know if anything's happening, but I'm just gonna pray about it and give that. Or there's somebody else that needs prayers right now, and I'm gonna pray for them. And it's a beautiful thing, a beautiful gift, instead of being like, oh, this shouldn't be happening. And then the next day, like I drink super tons of coffee, and then I'm up even later the next night because now I'm like wired. And like it's a slippery slope. And also, again, to kind of circle back to what I talked about in the beginning about how certain times of the year, I just know that I'm probably not going to sleep as well. And so I've even made lists, right? I've journaled it out, I wrote it in a notebook, like what I can do during that time because I know this is coming. And I know that there's I don't remember what it's called. It's like EDMR therapy or something. It's to help your body that because you store memories at a cellular level in your body, it helps heal that. It helps you not have such responses when your body is triggered. Because again, you can think things, and if your body is still holding on to that memory and that trigger, like you you're still going to have a physical reaction. So I know that there is science out there. I know that those are things that people can do. Um, I I've I've not done that. I've not looked into that. Um, but just knowing that certain times of the year, like I'm probably not going to sleep as well. Usually about the first winter storm of the year, I don't sleep as well because I get nervous. I feel that in my body again, like around my mom's death, like, and so I just surrender that to God. I offer that to God and I say, okay, like, what are some things that I can do if I can't sleep? Like, again, I'm still going to set up my nightly routine. I'm going to do as much as I can to get sleep. But if I wake up and I can't get sleep, like, okay, Lord, like, and typically I almost always pray my rosary first because that's just, I don't know. I grew up. That was what I was told was to pray the rosary. So, which I think is a good thing. It's a good practice. But just again, just knowing and being aware of that. And then if you want to put on like your in your planner or in your calendar on your phone, just start noting the different times of the year, like note when you didn't sleep well and when you did, and it might have a pattern to it. So just to be aware of that. The other thing you might recognize is that it feels like you're not sleeping a lot, but really when you can look back and you can see that you documented, like, oh no, I actually am sleeping pretty well. I'm sleeping 5 out of the 7 nights of the week. And overall in the month, I've probably only had 4 really bad nights of sleep. So just again, our brain likes to be dramatic and it likes to say, I never get good sleep. When you start documenting it, the reality probably is that you are getting some good sleep with some occasional not good sleep. So that is what I have for you guys today. And I hope you will go to catholicgriefcoach.com and sign up or get notified of my next grief group. We're going to start mid-August to late August. I don't have the exact date pegged down yet, but I am super excited about this. I am excited because we are made for community and I love seeing when we all come together and we share. Just that alone is so healing and so soothing to our soul. But we also incorporate our Catholic faith, and so it's just lovely and wonderful. And I'm so excited for it. I can't wait. It's gonna be epic. So, catholicgriefcoach.com, and I will see you next week. Have a blessed day, and I'm praying for you guys.